right, for the next tutorial, I'm going to add bumpers into this CAD so that we can make the bumpers, and also so that we have accurate geometry if we're trying to make an intake or something like that. And the most important thing that you can do when you are starting to design bumpers is to RTFM. Every year the rules are different, and bumpers are particularly hard to change, so if you make them wrong and you show up at a competition, there's a good chance that you're not going to be competing. So I am going to search the manual for bumper rules and jump down to section 9.4, and there's a couple of important pieces of information in here that we need to look at. First being this bumpers must stay low rule, is that the bumpers cannot be more than 7.5 inches above the floor. So that's one thing to keep in mind. Other things that we need to consider are the bumper construction. Our bumper should be approximately 19 millimeters, but this is going to depend on what kind of wood you have. They need to be 5 inches plus or minus half an inch tall. I'm going to make mine just 5 inches exactly, but there's some wiggle room there. And that should be about it. The pool noodles are approximately 2.5 inches, but I'm going to be focusing on the wood today. So going back to our assembly, I'm going to make some variables over here. The first will be bumper wood height. That'll be how tall the bumpers are. Bumper wood height. Oh, I already had it. 5 inches. Next, I'm going to do bumper wood thickness, which will be, in our case, I went upstairs and measured the wood, and the closest that we have is 18 millimeters. I think that will be just fine. And then I need to know kind of how far from the floor to the bottom of my bumpers, which will be, I'll call this bumper floor offset. I'm going to try 1.5 inches for now. This will be adjustable, so I can always come back and change that. And then finally, we don't want to make our bumpers the exact size of the frame perimeter. That may seem counterintuitive, but because we have to wrap cloth around the bumper as well, we need to leave a small gap in between the outside of the frame perimeter and where the bumper starts. So I'm going to call this bumper frame offset, and this we can play around with, but I'm going to set it to 1/8 of an inch for right now, and we can always change that if that's too big or something like that. Okay, so the other thing that we have to consider here is that we need to know where the bottom of the, where the floor is. If this robot's sitting on the floor, how do we find that information? And Onshape, thankfully, on the bottom of the swerve modules has a little mate connector here that tells us where the floor contact point is. So we're going to be using that. I'm going to make a new part studio now with reference to the floor, so that we can use this bumper floor offset to set the height of our bumpers. So I'm going to right click on that mate connector. I am going to do create part studio in context, hit the check mark up here, and I'm ready to start. So I'm also going to rename this to make everyone's life easier. I'm going to call this bumpers. Alright, so the first thing, I'm going to just make a couple sketches so that I can use those sketches to make more sketches to draw the bumpers. So I'm going to start a sketch on this top plane here. Now I could click here to look at the top. I could also just hit the N key to look at the top of my drawing. I'm going to add a rectangle right now over the top, and this is going to represent where the inside of my bumpers are, and I'm going to dimension this now using the D key. This distance will be bumper frame offset. Alright, I need to resize my rectangle now. And I'm going to just keep dimensioning all around. Bumper frame offset. Bumper frame offset. And the last one, bumper frame offset. Great. So if I'm looking at this from the top view now, there should be a slight gap in between the box channel and where my wood will go. Next up, I'm going to select all that I just drew, and I'm going to offset that using the offset or the O key up here. Make sure that it's going outwards, and then this distance is going to be bumper wood thickness. This is important because the way that we're slotting our bumpers together, if our wood is 19 millimeters or 18.5, we want to know exactly that distance so that it fits together nicely, or else they won't be very strong. Okay, so this sketch represents where my bumpers will be, but I don't want to start extruding this yet. I need to actually, I'm going to start drawing from a side or a front view. So I'm going to go ahead and exit this sketch by clicking the check mark. And I'm going to make a new sketch. I would like to just sketch on that 1/8 offset area. I don't have a plane for that, so I'm going to add one in. I'm going to select the plane tool here. By default, I think it is mid-plane. We want to switch to line angle. And I can select this line here. And you'll see that added in a plane that is offset that 1/8 of an inch. So I'm going to go ahead and hit the check mark and start a new sketch on this plane. Okay, so our bumper basically, it's going to look something like this, so that it can slot together. But I'm going to break this up into multiple steps. So I'm going to
start. Let me delete all this now. I'm going to start by just doing a rectangle.
And then I'm going to draw those fingers on. So drawing a rectangle here, I'm going to add my dimensions. Starting off with from the floor, this will be bumper floor offset. So that will set the bottom of our bumper to be the right height off the floor. Next, I'm going to add the height of the bumper here. So that will be bumper wood height. Next, I need to place this bumper in the center. I should have said I'm doing 4-part bumpers, so each corner is protected by a bumper. One way to do this is I can find my midpoint here by hovering on this line. I will find my midpoint. I can select the bottom point of my bumper, and I am going to make that vertical, pressing the V key. That's good. Now the other question is, how far over does this go? And I'm going to also use the vertical command here by selecting this inside corner and the bottom corner here, hitting the vertical button, and I have my nice bumper set up. After this, I'm going to add my my teeth in here. So I'll do this kind of sloppily first, and then I'm going to go in and add my relations. So I'm just going to draw my 3 boxes. You could also use mirroring here, but I'll do the full step. So how do I get these all black before I proceed? I'm going to select my 3 points here and make them vertical to each other. Next, I'm going to select these 3, and I'm going to make them equal to each other I could use the E key there. I'm going to start adding some dimensions. I'm going to dimension this to be, I'm not going to type in 18 millimeters here. I'm going to type in bumper wood thickness so that in the future if I change this it will automatically update. Great, and so we're almost here. I still need to set the height of these, and this I can say bumper wood height divided by 5. Why 5? I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 total spaces. The last piece of the puzzle is I need to get this centered. There's a bunch of different ways I could do this. One would be I could add a point in the middle of this.
And then I could find, okay. Add a point over in the middle of this as well.
And then I can select these two and set them to be horizontal. That would be one way that works fine. Another way that I could do this would be I could add a construction line between here and here, and I could set these two to be equal as well. So that would both of those ways would work, or there's lots of more. Okay, and then to make my life a little bit easier, I'm going to use this trim tool, and I'm just going to cut out. Oh no, that ruined my sketch. Oh, it messed up the height. Okay, I'm going to reset that height then. I'm going to dimension this to this as bumper wood height. All right, so that's all black now. I can proceed on. I'm going to extrude here. Don't want to go that way. I want to go the opposite direction, so I'm going to hit the flip button. And instead of 1 inch, I'm going to extrude it out bumper wood thickness. All right, and I have a nice piece of bumper wood. I need to add another piece over here. This one's a little easier. I don't need to make any new planes. In fact, I'm going to hide this old plane by right-clicking on it, and I'm going to select Hide All Planes. There we go. And for this piece, I'm just going to start a sketch. I'm going to start it on one of these surfaces. Doesn't really matter which one, but I'll choose this one. And for this, I'm going to just trace out what I want. So I'm going to go over here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I'm going to go over, up, making sure that I stay vertical and horizontal. All right, and I'm almost done. I just need to get this over to the midpoint. So just like last time, I can select this, I can select that. I'm going to hit vertical. That would be one way to do it. If you wanted a little more tangible method, I could also draw a construction line from here to here, and I could set that to be vertical. Or, you know, if for some reason you wanted a little gap between the two bumpers, you could also draw a vertical line here and then set some kind of dimension here. Like if you wanted a 1/16 gap so that your bumpers fit together nicer, that's also an option. I'm not too worried about that, so I'm just going to do it like that. All right, now that I have this, I can extrude. Note that I'll do up to face here and select that so that it fills it in. Note that I do not want to do the add option here because that would make just one giant block and all of my work on those fingers would be ruined. I really want to do new because these are two different parts. These are two different pieces of wood. Great. So these are almost ready. I could rotate these around if I wanted to, but for right now I want to actually add in some brackets or some way of mounting these bumpers to the box channel. So let's take a look at that. I'm just going to make kind of a dummy. I'm going to pretend like I'm bending a piece of metal or something to fit the bumpers. But you'll want to have some discussions about how exactly you want to mount your bumpers to the frame. It's important that they are durable and easily removable and repairable. But for this one, I just want to show you how I can add the holes in the right place on the bumper depending on my my bracket that I decide with. So let's make a new sketch. I'm going to mount these using this hole here maybe. So I'll start sketching on top of here. And I'm going to just draw a rectangle around here. To center this rectangle now, I'm going to draw a construction line from the center of the circle to the center of the rectangle, and I will make that, I want to say that's horizontal? No, not horizontal. Vertical. This will change depending on which side you start drawing on. Next, this line should probably go all the way out to the bumpers. I could do this point and this plane, and select pierce. Oh, maybe this point, this line, pierce? No, okay. So how do I get this out to the proper space? I can make another sketch, I guess. What I will do for now, I don't want to spend too much time on this, is I'm just going to add this dimension. Here, yeah, I'll just add this dimension. I'm going to say 1 plus bumper frame offset. So that should adjust to be, oh, okay, it doesn't like 1, I'm going to say 1 inch plus bumper frame offset. Great. Okay, it was a little awkward, but we'll get there. Finally, I still see some blue, and that is because I didn't set my width yet, so I will come in here and say, hey, let's make this. I don't know, you should probably add a variable here as well, but I'll just say 1 inch. Why not? Okay, so I'm going to extrude this out now. I'm going to pretend I'm making this out of 1/8 angle aluminum or something like that. So I'm going to extrude. You'll notice that it's not getting a hole here, so I actually want to delete this faces of sketch 4, and I'm just going to click specifically on what I want, which is here and here. Thickness, again, you probably want to set up a variable for this, but I'm not actually going to use these brackets. It's just for an illustration. Pull that up 1/8 of an inch. Great. And now for the vertical piece, I'm going to sketch on, I guess I'll just sketch on the bumper. Oh, I think I made a mistake. I said add instead of new, so this became part of the bumper. So yeah, I definitely want to go back and make sure that I selected new. It should be a different color in that piece. Okay. Now I'm going to do another sketch on here. I will draw a rectangle coming up like that. This can slide over, so I'm going to drag it back until it pops into place there. I'll set a height on this as well to be 1 inch. I should add a couple of holes here. I could do this a couple of different ways. I'll do it like this. I'm going to draw a construction line across here. I'm going to draw another construction line across here. I'll add a circle there and mirror that circle across like that. Finally, I can set a dimension here, something easy to remember, maybe like 5/8. The screws that we generally use are 4mm, so we use M4 bolts or M5 bolts, whatever, but that's a nice size. And then finally, I'm going to extrude this 1/8 of an inch. Now, I would like this to join my first part that I made, but not the bumper. So when I go to add here, for my merge scope, I'm going to select just this bottom piece. Great. Okay, so this is a pretty workable bracket. I do need to add my holes into the bumper. And one way that I can do this is, I'm pretty sure that I can just start a new extrude. I'm going to switch to remove to make sure that I'm removing material, and then I'm going to just click. No, that's not going to work. Okay, never mind. Let's make a new sketch on the bumper. I'm going to select these holes and then press the U's or the U key. Those holes should be in there now. I can remove this by extruding, remove. I'm just going to say through all. Hit the check mark. All right, and I am good to go. For really strong bumpers, you'd want to have 2 mounting brackets on each side. For this illustration, I'm just going to do 1. I need to do the same thing over here for the other side. It might be nice. I'm going to be a little lazy here. Instead of drawing this over and over again, I'm going to try mirroring them all over. So I'll show you how to do that. So before I can mirror or rotate anything, I need to set up my plane. So I'm going to go up here to the new plane tool. I'll set that up between these 2 box channels. I need to switch this back to mid plane. I'll get my plane in the middle. Very nice. I'm going to now use my mirror tool here. I'm going to mirror this bracket across this plane. And that should line up nicely with the hole. Just double checking. Yep, looks good. All right, up next, because I have a square base, I could just rotate these around. So I'm gonna do that real quick. To rotate, you need a axis. So I'm gonna add that in the middle of my bot. Normally, we put that origin in the middle of the bot so we could do that, but because we started it from this part down here, I can't do that, so I gotta add that back in. I'm gonna make a sketch on this plane too, because I know it's in the middle. I'm gonna make a line. Just doesn't really matter where I put it, but put that there. I think I can go here and select pierce. That should work. Nope. Okay, that's not working. Maybe this bumper in this point, pierce. This and this coincident. Ah, that worked. Okay, coincident, not pierce. I'll do this to the other side as well. I'm going to select this face, this point, make it coincident. Nice. And for the rotational axis, I'm going to find the midpoint here and draw my line vertical. Okay, I can exit the sketch now. I have my rotational axis. I'm going to go up here to under linear pattern, circular pattern. Entities to pattern, I'm going to pattern my brackets. Axis of pattern will be this line. You can see that added in all four, or all 8 of my brackets. I'll go ahead and hit the check mark. Last step, I need to add in the holes over here. So I'm going to make a sketch on this bumper. I'm going to use these 2 holes with the use box here. I'm going to make a nice extruded remove through all. Alright, and I got my holes in my bumper. Again, if possible, you should really use 4 brackets per bumper if space allows. I'm also not entirely sure about the placement of these so far out to the side. If you do have to only use 2 per segment, in the more in the middle might be nice, so this corner is more supported. But that's a discussion for another day. Next step, I am going to do another rotation of these wooden panels now that I have all the holes in them. I didn't want to rotate them before I put the holes in. So I'm going to go back up to my circular pattern. I'm going to select my bumpers. My axis will be, it hid my sketch, so I need to show my sketch here. My axis now, I can select that, and I have my 8 total pieces. All right, then the final step I think is going to be adding the pool noodles, but first, just to show you how nice this is now that I've set up all my variables. If I go back to my variable table, I could change, if I thought that those bumpers were a little too low, and I wanted to maybe protect motors or something inside, I could change this to 2 inches, and you'll see that raised everything up really easily. If my wood was I go up and I measure it and it's actually 19 millimeters, like it should be. You can see that expanded it out now. If my frame offset was too small, it's probably not the case, but just for illustration purposes, I could change that to 0.5, and you can see that just changed the whole offset, also changing the design of the brackets. So that's pretty nice. Yeah, so that's pretty much it. Last step is I'm going to add those pool noodles. Like we looked at before, those are 2.5 inches, but again, always double check all of the official documents for each year. And we're going to sweep those pool noodles around the bumper. So to do that, I'm going to make a sketch on any side, doesn't matter, but I'll do it over here. I'm going to add in a line to make this symmetrical. I'm going to add in my circle. I'll set that to be 2.5 inches. And I'm going to set my line here in my circle to be tangent, and my bumper and my circle to be tangent as well. Next, I'm going to mirror these over. And I would like to, I'll just add this so it looks a little bit nicer. Now I would like this to be all the way out at the edge here. I'm going to select this and make them horizontal from each other. Same down here, horizontal. Alright, and that should make a nice little bumper fabric that I can wrap around. To do this now, I need to exit my sketch. I'm going to hit the check mark. I'm going to select the sweep tool. I am going to sweep my circle, my outside bit, and my other circle. The sweep path will be either of these two rectangles down here. So I'll go here, 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 and here. And then I can hit the check. Alright, and that gave me these nice bumpers. I can use these patterns here to make my DXFs to cut out on the water jet. Alright, now that I've finished my bumpers, I actually want to put them into my assembly so that other people working on the bot can use them as reference and they won't steal my holes for mounting things. To do that, I'm going to hit this insert button. I'm going to select bumpers, and I'm going to I'll just put them somewhere convenient, not too close to the other things. The reason I'm doing this is because right now, even though I put these in here, they are they're still flexible. They still haven't been fixed together. So one thing I can do is I can select everything. I'm going to search for the group button here, and then I need to hit the check mark. Make sure you hit the check mark. Now it's a functioning unit. To mate these together, I'm going to do a planar mate. I'll go from the bottom of my bracket to the top of my box channel. Alright. Next, I need to, I'm going to do these holes. So I will do a cylindrical mate, and I'm going to try to scooch this in the right place so I can see which hole it goes to. That seem about right? Yeah, that seems right to me. Alright, so I will go this hole to this hole. Check mark. Alright, and then maybe the other one over here. I will go cylindrical mate this hole to that hole. Alright, and that's that. All my bumpers are nicely mounted on my frame. Should be pretty secure. Maybe next I will add in a belly pan.